Howdy do to everybody. I think I'm still trying to recover from what I just watched, but welcome to Popcast Movie Club number 35 as we discuss 1999's Go, which was the last time Doug Liman made an original film before he got into the IP warp hole, I think, off the top of my head. Because technically Bourne would be IP because it's based on existing material. But yeah, as you can see, AJ is joining me.
Yeah, I'm calling this the Hung Out to Dry podcast for this foreseeable future. So
Something like that. Again, after having seen the film, I feel like it. I just for the 100 minutes that it went, I was getting confused as to because I vaguely remember sort of the ending with all its craziness, and I did. It's not until watching it back I realised they crammed that all into like the last 10 minutes and whatever. I mean, we'll go through it somewhat sensibly.
that's weird you say that because I've seen this movie plenty of times. But when I watched it this most recent time, I also found out that I had forgotten what the last 10 minutes was.
Yeah, it was just like
So
it was like okay, we've got to this point in the story. We have only 10 minutes left because I'm looking at the runtime on the thing, and I'm like, where is it? How are we gonna get to the conclusion that I vaguely remember? There seems to be a lot that needs to happen, and it sort of does, but oh my word. The best thing I can say about this is it's. I don't know. It's hard to say it's the American version of Train Spotting, but it's somewhat close. But it also feels like there was a film that ironically came out the same year called Human Traffic, which was the big sort of debut gig from what I remember for John Sim and Danny Dyer amongst. I think that's the only two that I vaguely remember. Mainly because they were on the DVD case every time I went into the shop, because it was just there in the sort of like budget section, because whoever distributed it had a load of money, so it was just there all the time. And that's what sort of. I mean, to be fair, Go was as well. There was a lot of that. Um, but like everything about it just screams 90s. The soundtrack, the pacing, the actors, half of which was like this was their big break to some extent. I mean, this was our first sighting of the scourge that is Melissa McCarthy, and she actually did a good job for a change. Um, this must have been some of the early gigs for like Breckin Meyer or Katie Holmes, and maybe not Sarah Polly. She did some stuff before that, but a lot of them, it's like this is the first time I've seen them canonically since like I mean I recognize Breckin from Rat Race, which was like 3 years later. Holmes, which was
yeah,
what was the thing she was in? Party of Five or whatever TV series.
Dawson's Creek, I
That
think.
was it.
There was Polly was a child actress and stuff like Vera Munchausen.
Oh yeah.
And Breckenmeyer had I don't know if Clueless was Breckenmeyer's first movie, but I'm assuming it was one of them. And then he had the year after this he had Road Trip and then Rat Race. So this was like right when he was kind of
Mm-hmm.
rising a little bit.
One thing I do want to mention quickly. Um, Spencer opened up saying, "I'm going to be on a 3 month break from the show as I'm going through some personal and health stuff. I'll be listening from afar and watch Lynch and Bergman and Pacific Heights to get better. Pacific Heights makes everything better. Hope everything goes well with you, Spencer." Um,
Yes, very much so. He's one of our more loyal people.
And yeah, Bryce says go, I guess, when we were supposed to start at the top of the hour, which we roughly did. At least from what my timer says up here. Yeah, I completely forgot that Swingers was a Doug Liman film.
Yeah.
Because nearly everything I think of Doug Liman revolves around Bourne Identity. That was the first time he sort of came to my, vision directly. And then from that, we had Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And then it sort of fell off a bit with Jumper and Fair Game. Came back with Edge of Tomorrow. And then, practically everything he's done since has really been a mess to some extent. Oh God, he's doing the reimagining of Roadhouse.
Oh, that's an odd choice. The funny thing about him and Edge of Tomorrow now is he's still a screenwriter on it, but at some point during the Mission Impossible stuff that's been happening, I've convinced myself that Christopher McQuarrie did Edge of Tomorrow. I keep forgetting that it was Liman at this point.
Yeah. And then also, the script is really well done from John August, but it's if you look at his list, his filmography goes all over the place. He still does quality podcasts from what I can tell. The what was it? Script Notes with Craig Mazin, who's of course the big man at the minute because of Chernobyl and The Last of Us, or Craig Mazin, I should say. But yeah, Go was probably his first big project. He did God with Melissa McCarthy a year before. But then he follows it up with Titan AE and the Charlie's Angels films. But then also Big Fish. It goes all over the place. Technically credited with Aladdin as well. Exec producer on Prince of Persia. Is that because he did the script that they ditched and they just left him as exec producer? And then he's working on... He's done the screenplay for Toto, which is apparently the story around Toto the dog from The Wizard of Oz. I mean, it's a Michael Morpurgo book, so I'm willing to give it a chance because he's a good author. But at the same time, why are we making a film about a dog? This isn't Hachi's a Dog Tale, damn it. Or A Dog's Journey, whatever that crazy shit film was.
Yeah, let's not mention Hachi and The Dog's Journey in the same breath.
Both got Richard Gere, I think. I can't remember. But
No, just Hachi.
No, okay. And just... it does make me wonder whether when John was writing this, he was on something. Because everything is... Although I do remember from... Because I was trying to look for the intro on YouTube, just because I was trying to work out what the music track was. I now know. It's what the hell is it? It's got a brilliant name. Fire Up the Shoe Saw. Because it samples... Nancy Sinatra's Boots Are Made for Walking, which is technically written by Lee Hazelwood, and I prefer Summer Wine better. But then it also, in the bit that you don't hear it anywhere in the movie, it samples the Flight from Kobe track from You Only Live Twice. So when that showed up, when I listened to the track, I was like, what is John Barry doing in here?
I'm gonna have to track that down.
Yeah, it's a British act as well. They did like lots of hits in the 90s and then just fell off a cliff and never did anything. Um, the reason I bring that up is because the opening is one of the best mixes I've seen from production company to film I've seen in ages. It's just brilliant how the tone of the song fits perfectly with the last note of the Columbia sting and just seamlessly goes in, and like the credits are done in a minute. They're just as hyper as the rest of this film. Hell, even the end credits are relatively short at like 4 minutes, I think, or something. This is like, we have a time limit. This needs to go on HBO for 2 hours with 20 minutes of adverts. We need to cut it. Fine.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, you were talking about August Screenwriter and just how the movie's really hyper and what the movie probably took as influences. And I add up all of that, and it's interesting because I've always really, really liked this movie a lot. But when I look at all of the individual pieces, by all accounts, I feel like I should hate it. Like I like well, I think the thing I should probably hate the most is what a lot of the critics went after for. But the funny thing is, it was critically acclaimed, but even in their acclaim of the movie, like every critic at the time said it's just trying to be Pulp Fiction, and they'd go like scene by scene and say like, this is why this scene's like Pulp Fiction in that scene, and not just Tarantino-esque in general, but specifically Pulp Fiction is what they said it was basically trying to be. And what's interesting is I think the scenes that should annoy me the most that don't is I don't really I don't really watch this movie and think like Pulp Fiction specifically, but I understand where some of the dialogue was criticized for that, like when they're doing the Dead Presidents game, or when Katie Holmes and Oliphant are talking about Family Circus at the diner, and it's like that stuff feels like the thing Tarantino was trying to capture, where whenever Vincent and Jules had a lot of dialogue that wasn't relevant to anything. The whole point was, oh, these are just cool characters who just do their thing and they don't always have to do a lot. And it felt like they were really driving, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like I
Yeah,
actually kind of like it.
I see the Pulp Fiction stuff, kind of. But in essence, the way it's actually presented is it's basically the same, 24 hours, let's say, shown start to finish pretty much 3 times. The only sort of bit that gets around that is the very start, the Christmas speech from Claire to Todd. That's the only bit that sort of flips around and sort of fits into the storyline at the end, because you sort of get your block of what happened to Rona or Rona. Then you have the block of Simon and his perspective, and then the block of Adam and Zach, because how we transition to that from the same scene is they just so happened to be on the telenovela drama style thing that was on the TV while they were in the back having their break, which is kind of
I
genius.
I I could see that. I also I always took it as kind of misdirection because when we cut back to the scene again when they're in the back room at work, by all accounts, the next segment should be a Katie Holmes segment,
Yeah,
and it kind of looks like it looks like it's setting up for that, and then it goes to the TV instead.
we never really get a Katie Holmes segment. We
Yeah, she gets the
sort of
bookend
do, but
basically.
even then, like, that isn't the prominent part of her story.
Yeah, you could say she's, if you want to keep doing this, you can say she's Tim Roth and Amanda Plummer. We start and end with her in a diner, and she doesn't get her own segment.
It's like
there, we
her
can all do
life
the
must
Pulp
be
Fiction.
really boring to make up for everybody else's being crazy.
Yeah, because another thing that I really like about the stuff you were bringing up is how when we see a scene again, instead of just playing the same like shots over again, the scenes are kind of re-edited
Mm-hmm.
to where we're still kind of getting a bit more of the perspective, especially apparent when we get Katie Holmes giving the whole Christmas speech again, but this time we're getting cuts to Oliphant's face and then back to her. Or like when Simon starts his segment, it kind of feels like the camera has slightly shifted to where it's following him a little more that where it was initially following Paulie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought those additions were really interesting and make the movie not feel as like, because it could have felt really redundant because there's a movie called Vantage Point. I don't know how many people remember it, where it's like it's got like Dennis Quaid and Forrest Whitaker and a bunch of other people.
Oh yeah,
William
the sort of
Hurt.
like, I don't want to say knockoff phone booth,
Yeah,
but
it's like
it sort
it's
of did
something like
feel
that, but
like
it's like
everything happening at the same time, like cut between the two of them.
yeah, it's the Rashomon thing, the different perspectives thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about that was that movie got so repetitive because every single time we'd rewind and start again, a clock tower would ring. And I swear, when I saw that movie in the theater, every time we rewound and that clock rang, everybody in the theater laughed. And I don't think that was the intention. And so, like, it was the repetitiveness of it started to get to people. And so I feel like this is a way kind of around that where they kind of shot things slightly differently. And it gave you that vibe of you knew right away you were getting a different perspective, even if you were watching the same scene over again. And it's honestly exciting every time it goes back to the same scene because you can feel that you're about to go on a totally different path.
Oh, yeah,
So I thought they handled that aspect really
it's
well.
literally choose your own adventure. I
Yeah.
hope it spliced that perfectly on the DVD, where they could just edit it so it isn't just like seven scenes clipped together. It's just like, do you want to follow? Do you want to
I
follow
also
Rona, or do you want to follow Simon, or do you want to follow Adam and Zach, or get the short end of the stick? And do you want to follow Claire? Like,
You know what else I really loved about the multiple perspectives thing is when we were getting scenes that were happening at the same time, they weren't. There were times where they weren't blatant about it, like when it's Katie Holmes and Oliphant at his place and he calls Simon, and it's like in another movie, him talking to Simon, like him talking to Simon from Simon's perspective would have been a whole scene. But when we see the moment where they're having that, but we just know where it is. And I love the way they alluded to that with on Oliphant's side, he has the whole thing about he's trying to express Merry Christmas, but Mary's like a woman's name. And then he has to correct him and say, no, it's one R like a name. And the only part of that we get from Simon's side is, oh, you're going to a wedding? It's like that's where we know that's the Todd conversation. And I like that they weren't so blatant about the times where it's crossing over. Usually.
but you know, and the introduction to Rona as well is just really beautiful. Just this working as the checkout clerk and like, what bag you want, and of course the customer's always right. Like, oh, I used to have this job. And Rona's just dead staring, like, well, look where it got you. And just getting back on with it, like, whoa! And then transitioning into the drug deal, and then the drug deal, which was probably a drugs bust. Part of me doesn't know whether Bill Fitchner's Burke was actually a cop, and his wife was a cop, or whether it's just some really sick S&M thing. Some
I would
roleplay
say,
gone way too far.
yeah. I mean, I've always just gone with the idea that he's a cop, but that guy with him didn't seem like a cop either. The long-haired guy.
Mm. It was
And
just literally just like, oh, we'll get the guy from the video store to help us. He's got the VHS and the equipment.
yeah, I do also love how it's like a twist in itself, where it's so clear it seems like it's going in like a swingers direction.
There's so many
Not Lyman's previous
twists.
movie. Not obviously that's not a reference to Lyman's previous movie, but like swingers.
Yes.
Um, but, and then it's just the pyramid scheme thing is hilarious to me, and it's
I mean, there's so many twists. You know, Rona basically faking drugs, but the twist is the teenagers really like the over-the-counter pills because they're, I don't know, they don't know whatever.
yeah, she gambled hardcore on the placebo,
Manny,
and it
Ma-
paid off.
Manny's twist was the cat was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Along with the old Chiang Kai shek, which technically in Chinese is correct, so that's why technically that is an X. Um, and then I don't know, when Todd realizes what's going on, threaten him with a gun. No, I'll get run over by a car, and then thrown off the car down into a ditch. And then we cut to the next thing, and then
That's a that's something else that makes the structure so great.
oh,
Basically, most of the scenes in this movie feel like they're headed towards a climax or are a climax to like any other story.
yeah,
And because of the way it's structured, the whole movie can just feel like that.
yeah, it's like, oh, she's gonna get arrested by the cop, but then like, oh, look at this alcohol I'm drinking when I'm only 17. I'm underage. Um, and then we
Hey,
transition to like,
I always loved Polly as an actor.
yeah,
I was kind of bummed when she just kind of unceremoniously stopped acting when she started directing. I mean, she obviously she does both very well, obviously.
I mean, she's done. The thing is, she's done a solid job though in directing.
Yeah,
Um, you know, Away from Her was really good. Take This Waltz was really good. It's a shame it took sort of 10 years for her to do other movie stuff. Or I guess
yeah.
that's when. Yeah, because basically she did nothing bar maybe that she wrote some miniseries, alias Grace, that aired in Canada, and then Hey Lady, which was clearly a sort of lockdown sort of thing. Because she really didn't do that much. She sort of literally went off the radar for a decade, doing nothing. And then we get Women Talking. And I guess technically, uh, she might be doing the live action Bambi, which I really hope she doesn't, because why do we need a live action Bambi? I want to see
And
graphic gore. If we're gonna, if the deer's getting shot, we need this Tarantino style. This needs to be in the back of the car, all over the back windshield.
well, I mean, Tarantino talks about Bambi in Cinema Speculation. It's not out of the realm of possibility. But yeah, but as far as her as like an actress, also, solid director because those four movies are really fucking strong.
Yeah.
But and during the scene when she's telling Fickner maybe I'm underage, I guess through most of the movie she gives me really strong Winona Ryder vibes in this. Which is interesting. Like it almost feels like she could have been an alternate casting choice.
Yeah.
I love these moments where she does kind of start to take control. There's the whole thing where she's passing out the fake drugs, and she basically takes on Todd's like whole personality. It seems like her experience that she just had with him, she's now using in her favor, like the like just the idea of selling drugs, but also when she does the show your tits thing to the guy. And it's like I mean, obviously his was the whole looking for a wire thing, but still just kind
Oh. AJ is
of
frozen.
situation
Oh.
she was just in. Oh man, that was like a whole thing there. How much was caught?
I don't know. Your hands are up there.
I was going. God damn it. Okay, I was talking about how she basically took the situation she just went through with Todd and basically turned it around for herself, where she went into a drug dealer persona and started selling the fake drugs,
She
and
Daniel
then
Day
she did
Lewised it.
the sugar.
She Daniel Day Lewised
Yeah, and
it.
then
She took the experience and went, "Here's my own take on it," and pulled off with a
and
massive
then
aplomb.
and she had just he was looking for the wire, so she had just gone through the degradation of having to. She does the show me your tits thing to the guy asking for drugs. Really interesting.
Then, of course, we transition to Simon's story, which goes all over the place. Bloody with Marcus's tantric
But actually,
stuff.
so, the thing that I love about what just basically everything related to Tay Diggs in this part of the movie is how it's always great when you can find a good running joke, but when you can take a running joke that's funny in itself and make it so it's drives the events of the movie from then on so much. Like it's this domino effect of him getting mistaken for an employee, and I've always obviously the guy that ends up chasing him, who I think is J.E. Freeman from Miller's Crossing, he makes it abundantly clear it's a racism thing. But when they're actually in the casino and he gets mistaken for the bathroom attendant or he gets mistaken for the valet, I always wondered if it was racism or if it was the coat he was wearing, because they drew attention to that too, or if it's just a combination of both. Either one is darkly funny and one's just funny. But the way that those misunderstandings lead to them getting the car, them getting the gun, and how that starts to happen, and it just started as a running gag,
Yeah, it just started with a trip to Vegas,
is very funny.
of which Simon's got them in Todd's credit card somehow, and
Yeah,
doing this stuff, and then bloody crashes a wedding, bangs two of the bridesmaids, but the, I mean the one the one chick that was like I putting the bloody paper up my nose because otherwise she has a reaction, and somehow what I'm trying to work out what they would have been doused with for it to relight like that, because it had to have been something. Paper ain't just gonna go. And the fumes of whatever they were smoking probably wouldn't have done it
well,
anyway.
yeah, and it's also one of those things where there's you're so go along for the ride, and it's such a dumb. It does it. I feel like it doesn't even really set in how much relaying it to Breckenmeyer and James Duvall later, and then it's like, and obviously Breckenmeyer's just stuck on the you had sex with two women thing, and that's all this. Breckenmeyer in this plays the annoying friend so well. Like I see Breckenmeyer in this movie. I feel like I've been friends with that guy before, like way in the past.
And then, of course, the incident at the strip club with the getting in touch with the strippers because they went for the champagne rather than the vodka. I think that was a great bit. Like, what if I say for vodka? Nothing. Champagne means you get the private thing. And then bloody Simon shoots the guy in the arm. They run away. We get the car chase down. I swear that one. Maybe that's why we have the John Barry score, because I'm pretty sure that must be. Yeah, actually from the casinos that are there on the strip. I think that's supposed to be the same alley that the infamous rotating car in Diamonds Are Forever happened. I think.
Was that never occurred to me until you were in the middle of talking about it. It's like, oh my god, I know exactly where this is going, and I never thought about that.
As soon as they were. Well, you're in Vegas and you go down an alley where the car can barely go down. So immediately I was thinking Diamonds Are Forever. It's one of the only good bits of that film. Apart from Charles Gray eating all the scenery. When doesn't he? But then, like, even how that sort of. They didn't even Hollywood the car. It got totally T-boned by the big giant Jeep, but still managed to go off like a spluttering wreck. There was no, like, oh, massive explosion or, they're trapped. It managed to somehow pull away. However. And then the sad thing is we don't see anything from the other three. Where did they quote unquote escape to? We know what happens with Simon because we get the payoff later on, but and that itself is like a crazy half hour in itself, which I can't even say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas because it clearly didn't, because it came to LA.
Yeah, because when they find the card and they start looking into Todd, it almost feels like it's going to end on a cliffhanger, and we're just going to assume something really bad happens to Todd. That's why I totally forgot the epilogue.
So I'll pause here before we get to the telenovela intro and discuss more the genius of Bill Fichtner. It wasn't just Vice City and other things. It was also this. Josie with quite a few comments here. We'll miss you, Spencer. Love your input in chat always. You can definitely tell this was one of the movies inspired by Pulp Fiction in the latter half of the 90s, but it still has its own uniqueness, I think. One of the theme songs in One Piece goes, Ichi no sunshine, go, we go. So it's all about the go. The grocery store looks so much fun. Yeah, like, I mean, it looks so kitchen cheesy. The giant bloody Christmas banner saying, like, you'll love our prices. Like, oh no, cringe, but also, that's kind of awesome. Has it been hanging up there since July? Because that's the tradition now, right? Josie also mentions the spiky hair in the late 90s. The Monto Burger manager in Good Burger also had that. I mean, I guess that's where I can bring up, like, it's a shame Desmond didn't do a lot more movie stuff. Then again, we got him in a load of video games, so I won't object. His Wikipedia page has got very little, but if you actually look into IMDb, he's done a lot of additional voices as well as some other things, like for the past 20 years in games. So we haven't lost him completely. He's still delectating us with his vocals, whatever.
Yeah, he's Desmond Hughes is one of those interesting people where whenever I see him in this, I really feel like I've seen him somewhere else before, and I don't think I have. It's like he
Yeah,
just has one of those faces.
I think I was the same. I was like, he's in this like. I mean, the thing that didn't help is, of course, until I realised at the end, the credits were in alphabetical order, rather because I was
Yeah.
like, who's the big star? Like, I've never heard of him. Um, it's interesting though that because uh, Josie does bring up that the cinematography was done by Doug himself. The only other cases was Swingers and Fair Game. One of these things
That's
is not like
unexpected.
the others.
I want to watch all three of those right in a row now, just to see because this and Swingers definitely have similar aesthetics, and Fair Game is not either one of these. If I remember correctly, Fair Game is actually very generic.
Yeah.
Like I don't have any. I've seen it, but I don't have any memory of it.
The editor Stephen Mirioni also edited Swingers, Ocean's 11, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, 21 Grams, Good Night and Good Luck, Babel, Beautiful, Contagion, Birdman, and The Revenant. So a lot of Inarritu and a lot of Clooney. That's why the Doug Liman thing finished, and then it was just Clooney and Inarritu. I guess with some added Contagion, so Soderbergh, but there's an Ocean's link there as well. The costume designer Genevieve Tyrrell also did the costumes for Freaky Friday, which celebrated its 20th anniversary today. The director picked the grocery store that the movie was filmed in because of its rundown big
Oh
city
yeah.
quality, which I guess makes sense. When the producers paid the owner of the supermarket for permission to film there, the owners took some of the money and repainted and repaired the store for a more Hollywood look. Oh no! The directors and producers were understandably unhappy with this, since the only reason they picked it was because how it looked in the first place. The producers, after getting consent from the store, hired a crew to bring the store back to what it had looked like before, and that's what shows up in the film. That's why you should only spend it after the filming has happened. My word.
Yeah, yeah, because the budget for this can't have been very high. I wonder how much of it was just that. That whole
Yeah, let's
fiasco.
see. The budget supposedly was 20 million. With a
Seems
box
high
office
for
with a
this.
box office of about 28. I mean, probably a lot of the budget probably went on all the licensed music that they needed in it.
Yeah.
To some extent, you've got blooming Eagle Eye Cherry, you've got some Air, you've got some Left Field, you got some Fatboy Slim, some
So
No Doubt, which you
yeah, I
get
was gonna
right at
say
the end.
so many people use Magic Carpet Ride. I feel like it's probably like $5 or something. Like everybody can afford Magic Carpet Ride.
Hell, of course, I forgot. I don't recognize the artist Len, but I recognize the Steal My Sunshine song. Because that was the one that sampled, what was it? I'm trying to remember. Andrea True Connection, that was it. It was the sample of More, More, More. How do you like it? How do you like it? Just randomly in there, because that was just 99 2000. That was just on the radio a fucking lot. That's why this was like a trip back. I'll tell you now. I'm watching this again at some point just for the music. It's easier to listen to tracks like that I really liked than actually finding them on Spotify because I'm like, who the fuck's Len? I'd never find it otherwise. Some Oliphant trivia here. Well, relating to the film, I should say. Oliphant, who plays Todd, thought the character needed a neck tattoo, but Doug Liman thought it was a bad idea because it made him look too sinister. The next day, he showed up with a temporary tattoo of a pair of flaming dice that the makeup department had stamped on his neck, and it ended up in the movie. Oliphant was right. Hashtag Oliphant was right. He was only cast in the film after he got fired from Practical Magic and replaced by Aidan Quinn. His manager was desperate to find him another role and was cast at the last minute as Todd. Oh, and ended up staying in the same LA hotel room that had been booked originally for him for Practical Magic while filming Go. It's fate.
Getting this over Practical Magic is such a win. Because...
Yep. Yep. In all senses of the word. Being a New York City native, Tay did not know how to drive and had to receive lessons. And Josie mentioned Steal My Sunshine. Hell yeah. That's what it's all about. And then something that I vaguely remember hearing on the somebody for some reason put the intro bit with the credits on YouTube, like with the DVD clip and everything, which is weird because then it also has the director's commentary for like the minute where Doug and what the actual shit. Doug and John are on commentary and basically say, one, they've never taken drugs in their life, but somehow they managed to recreate what it was like being on ecstasy. And then at the same time, and Josie mentions it here, Lyman had never been to a rave before until they actually started doing it. And basically he became a raver. He'd just go and like the music. That's all it needed. Bry with a little bit of stuff. It was nominated for 2 Independent Spirits for supporting actress for Sarah Polley, who lost Chloe Sevigny for Boys Don't Cry. And Doug Liman was nominated for director, but losing to Alexander Payne for election. To be fair, I can't deny either of them.
Yeah.
When Adam's trying to make room in the trunk, there's a brief shot of a box of Tide that's pasted over with the Confederated Products label. Oh my god! I did not notice that. That is just... Everything's connected, son of a bitch! After the first POV ends and Sarah's character fell, I wasn't entirely sure if she was dead or not. Yeah. I mean, again, that's always sort of like the cliffhanger. At that moment, I wondered if she was dead, as there would actually be multiple perspectives as far as who actually killed her.
I do love how unceremoniously it's revealed that it was them. Because you just see the car and you know immediately.
Yeah. While on break at the grocery store, Rona, Claire and Manny are playing a game naming dead celebrities according to a specific letter. Omar Sharif's mentioned, although he didn't die until 2015. That's what when they mentioned the dead things, I was like, Omar Sharif, I'm like, I'm trying to remember what Omar did something, didn't he? between 99 and 2015 before he died. I'm trying to think
Oh,
off the
I'm
top.
sure he did. I can't think of it off the top of my head.
Omar Sharif filmography.
Yeah, I think I missed when we were talking
What?
earlier. I think I mistakenly called it the Dead President's Game.
I don't think it was him and Hidalgo, was it?
Oh, it might have been actually. Yeah,
Yes. That's why I was like.
that sounds right. Yeah.
That's why I was like, if he's dead, how the hell was he in Hidalgo then? So again, that's the only thing I remember about Hidalgo. It was one of the last major things from Omar Sharif.
Isn't to make that even funnier? Isn't Omar Sharif the first name they say?
Yes. I can't remember what the other ones were. I know we get to, famous people with an X. And we get to Xerxes. And then, of course, in Manny's drug-fevered mind, the cat goes, Jankai check. Then again, at the same time, I don't think he was a celebrity. He was a president of China. Or I can't remember, emperor or president. One of the two. Brian mentions I know Breckenmeyer because of the Garfield films. He walked so Jason Lee and Alvin and the Chipmunks could run.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure Breckenmeyer appreciated known specifically for the Garfield movie.
And that's all I got to say about that. Alright, I'll jump back into chat again in a minute. Because now we get to the soap opera guys and their deal of working with the quote-unquote police detective. Wire them up, trying to trap Rona, but manage to sort of... I missed the bit where it said Zach secretly warns her. Was it basically a different, camera angle where you could see Zach was, mouthing, get the hell out or something?
I think it might have been from behind him when he does it the first time.
Yeah.
Or it could also be that her head's blocking his face. Maybe it's very. You can tell the movement's very precise that first time, and the cutting is very precise.
Which then revolves into Christmas dinner and naked Bill Fitchener just hanging out. And getting overly personal with Adam, I think it is. No, Zach.
Zach.
And then Adam getting overly personal when Irene, Burke's wife, just thrusts herself upon him. Because, telenovelas. I know it isn't telenovelas, but with all the sort of, dramatic zooming as if... To me, part of me, when I was looking at that bit that introed the whole segment, it was like, is this the TV version of Brokeback Mountain? Because we're literally just looking at, the eyes of Adam and Zach's characters, dramatic tension.
I think that's just a soap opera trope.
True. Which then resolves into, we want to get you to help us with our selling our products. And of course, Zach's like, you want us to sell Amway? And they're like, it's not that. There's much better quality. That's why it's called Confederated Products. Adam Zach, it's like, somebody took the Amway stuff and stuck a sticker on the top of it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Fight Club, you've got The Sixth Sense, you've got The Usual Suspects. I don't know. Is after all that build.
And then we have the bit in the store where they both realise that they both cheated on each other with Jimmy from makeup. So they randomly go to him and cut off a lock of his hair, head off in the car, crash into Rona, and immediately when they do, the stereotypical gay scream, realizing what they've done. And then more so when they realise, oh, somebody's coming with a gun. And then it's like, and then they sort of scream again when they realise, oh wait, the guy's still wearing the wire, so who knows whether like somebody's managed to get it up and record the thing, even though, I mean, as tech guy, I'm pretty sure as soon as everything happened, because the way he glanced at Burke after one thing, he was just like, the fuck is this shit? He was purposefully like, oh, yeah, Merry Christmas, I'm getting out of here, bye. He wanted nothing to do with that.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean, going back to when they hit her. I've gone through this before, but it's childish, sure, but guys with high pitched screams will be a joke that works on me every time. I will laugh hysterically every single time that joke happens. And usually the joke is it's like a big, threatening, burly person that has a high pitched scream. It doesn't matter. If any person unexpectedly has a high pitched scream,
and then of course we get another one where it's like they go to return to the scene of the crime and pick her up, because she's dead, and they go and and then she starts sort of spluttering, and then gay scream again. And then it's like,
yeah,
well, she's supposed to be dead, right? And so it's like he's
yeah.
gonna getting ready to hit her with the tire iron, and new plan, and then somehow we just jump to BMW car alarm going off, and somehow she's splayed on the thing. And I'm just getting echoes back to Magnolia, and then like, is this the frogs landing on the car? Like, where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Like, what
It's also
did she fall
what's
out
also
the bathroom of an airplane? Because that's the only way that'd happen. Thank
what's
God she
also
didn't land on the tree like that guy,
what's also
Greenberry
interesting.
Hill.
What's also interesting to me is the scene where they go back for her and they're moving her, and the scene where Zach is basically trying to get Adam in the headspace of they're on a movie set and they're doing a scene
Hmm.
is so funny and so absurd. But am I wrong to think it also kind of works dramatically? Like if that was a scene totally played straight, I feel like it would still
Yeah,
work.
certainly. And then after all that happens, all of a sudden, all of a sudden, the film realizes Claire's been waiting, doing nothing. We might need to see what happens with her. So, because she can't get anybody, she meets up, or she goes to meet up with Rona and Manny at the restaurant because that's what's agreed to. But Todd's there, and Todd isn't sure what's going on, and also I guess doesn't want to say, oh yeah, I tried to kill your friend, but then she got ran over, and I guess she's dead. And so they instead sort of get smooching on the stairs up to his apartment. And then when they get in the apartment, oh no, it's the two sort of guys from the strip club thinking that Simon's showing up. Then Simon just walks through and as if to say, oh, I've got a hell of a problem.
That about the fact that Todd never mentioned her getting hit by the car to Katie Holmes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting that Lyman didn't want him to look too sinister because it makes me wonder how threatening Todd is supposed to be. Because it's pretty tense by itself when she's alone with him in the apartment, and he's quoting the Breakfast Club at her, but in like this really sinister, potentially threatening way.
Yeah.
And then he definitely looks like he's gonna kill Rana in that scene. Like he really looks like he's going to. So I'm curious how sinister or not sinister he was intended to be. Because I have no idea, actually.
Well, I guess it was sinister enough because the Young Hollywood Awards gave him Best Bad Boy. What the hell is the Young Hollywood Awards? I don't know if I want to look into it. Oh, we only have 2013. Oh, they haven't done any since 2014. Oh, and it was first awarded in 99. Oh, Fox did it, and then the CW did it because the other 2 years just fell off, I guess. Okay.
And while it's interesting, while we're having the discussion of how sinister Timothy Oliphant is supposed to be, it's actually a total coincidence I'm wearing this shirt right now. This is for a completely different reason. For another video.
Also, I just noticed Teen Choice Awards got nominated there for most funniest scene, which was blooming the Adam and Zach being seduced by a police officer that invited them to dinner. That somehow got nominated. What was the thing that fucking won? Where is it? I'm trying to find out now. Where's the funniest scene bit? Oh. If you think about it, this is like a game now. If you think about it, AJ, there's a film from '99 that's probably more infamous for a funny scene.
First comedy that comes to mind for '99 would be Austin Powers 2.
Oh.
No.
Oh, hold on. It's a film from... Hang on. That film's from 1998. What's it doing along with Go that came out in 19... Hang on. When was Go released? April. When were the Teen Choice Awards? August. Okay. I mean, I just need to say the woman's name and you'll probably know what film it's relating to.
Okay. Is this in relation to Cameron Diaz?
Yeah.
Got it.
The most funniest scene was Matt Dillon in There's Something About Mary.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it was the Matt Dillon scene specifically. It doesn't specify what scene, that's the problem.
I'm going to assume giving the dog CPR, probably. That makes the most sense.
I'm going to have to go to the There's Something About Mary page and see if it says on there. No, I don't want accolades. Does it not have any other accolades? Oh, they don't want to even list the awards that it had. That's good. So I guess. Thanks, Teen Choice Awards and your Wikipedia that has got whatever. Okay. Meanwhile, maybe I just jumped because I felt like this needed to be similar to Go, and it just jumps about all over the place. Because Victor and everything is here, and then it's like the victors want justice as opposed to sort of revenge. So the whole idea is, well, if one guy got shot in the arm, what if he shoots you in the arm back? Neglecting to mention the fact that I'm pretty sure the pistol, I don't know whether it's the same sort of pistol that would actually have stopping power. Just like the gun that Victor got shot with. I'm not sure. Especially if it was at point blank range from actually sort of there. But then it's like, I honestly feel like Claire's right, because she's like, oh, this is bad. And everyone else, even the guy that's going to get shot, is clamoring to know what it's like. Even the guy that's been barged in on, and like it's got nothing to do with him, bloody Todd, has like a sick interest in this. Victor Senior's just like they should have called Burke and have him come round, because he's probably into that shit as well. You know. Holy shit. And then just the added touch at the end when she's gone, and then bang, and Simon goes, oh, I'm alright. It's like,
it kind of, you want to, funnily enough, you want to talk about the Tarantino comparisons. That feels a lot like the end of Four Rooms, with the lighting the lighter and cutting the finger off game.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah. So then we finally jump to, like, canonically everything that happened afterwards. Rona wakes up in hospital, discharges herself, gets back to the supermarket to start work. And then it's like, oh, where's Manny? And Ronnie's just like, fuck. And he's hiding out, scared of the cats, because the cats are going to kill him.
Yeah, she has that limp, but Rana's in really good shape the next morning, given what happened.
Yeah, she sort of hobbles a bit when she does the bit in the car after getting Manny. And then, of course, what are the plans for New Year? Where I'm like, they obviously left that as an option if they did want to spin it off and do a second one. But, like, yeah, this is Trainspotting meets Weekend at Bernie's. It just feels.
That last line also feels akin to Argyle's last line in Die Hard to me.
Mm-hmm. Just crazy in a good way, probably. Some more stuff in chat. The license plate 2GAT123, which appears in the film, also features in Beverly Hills Cop 2, Traffic, Pay It Forward, Mulholland Drive, Crazy Beautiful, LA Story, 2.5 Men, and SWAT! God, SWAT is 20 years. I guess it doesn't help that they did that TV series at this, like, for the past 5 years or whatever, that I get confused with. The letter X, or the figure X, is a recurring motif in the film. Malcolm X, Xerxes, Chiang Kai-shek, ecstasy, because X is what it can be referred to. Merry Xmas, Room 660 of the Riviera, and the X that Simon draws in his thing, the target. And then at the end it's revealed the rave was done in what's otherwise a XXX porn house. Which just so happens to be over the way from the blooming grocery store. Which I only just realised. Both James Duval and Nathan Bexton appeared in Nowhere from '97. When Wolf and Moira are talking in the store about the cheating girlfriends, Moira says, "Isn't it ironic?" And Wolf replies, "Don't you think?" I noticed that and I was like, oh, I'm trying to... Somebody need to just randomly shout in the background, "It's like, why?" Go was rated R for strong drug content, sexuality, language, and some violence. I see strong sexual content on rating descriptions, but not strong drug content. Well, I guess the issue with that is probably a lot of the drug taking you see is just done via pills. And I'm wondering whether actual strong drug content for most people would be like putting it in with a needle and whatever.
Yeah.
The closest you get is the bridesmaids and Simon setting fire to the hotel room. I love seeing Bill Fitchner. Josie says the funny thing is that the day I watched this movie, I also watched Heat. That's a double header. Michael Mann's fast cutting of that shooting scene, and then you've got Go just going everything. Especially when you get to the drug cats where Doug Liman goes, "Let's get them Dutch angles." Fun fact, Bill Fitchner is a talented racing driver. Won the 2011 Toyota Pro Celebrity Race during the Grand Prix of Long Beach, finishing ahead of Ken Gucci, a pro driver. His favourite films include The Graduate, The Godfather, Godfather Part 2, 3 Days of the Condor, The Deer Hunter, and Strictly Ballroom. That's a good list. He also became the first person to receive a star on the Buffalo Niagara Film Festival's Walk of Fame. Favorite line favorite line or lines in the film? I still say that opening one of Rona just being deadpan to the mom with the kids and like, you worked here before? You didn't get very far, did you? And then also, probably this is triggered by you reminding me, AJ, but the whole, you had sex with 2 women? Just the laboured nature of that. Any lines that come to mind for you, AJ?
Oh. This is one of those things where I this later. After we've signed off. I think the reason I love the pyramid scheme reveal so much, Fichtner's performance and his delivery throughout it, because it's like, it seems like he's half building towards trying to convince him to get into an orgy, and half trying to convince him to join a cult. Like both.
Either possibilities are on the table for a lot of time. That's the annoying bit.
So it's probably one of his lines based on delivery. Or, I love the way I love, like, long after the guys.
Uh-oh. Long after the guys, it glitched.
Free, and I was gonna say, Simon's, I'll throw in an extra 20 for a blowjob.
Yeah, because we get the camera, the camera pan and zoom in on that line the second time around when it's his view. It's like, I swear that's why he just raised his eyebrows at it. Like, I'm on camera to say this line.
There's also, it's kind of silly, but I also kind of love, they wouldn't evict you at Christmas, then you'll be ho-ho homeless.
Yeah. Brian mentioned they're the Teen Choice Award nomination for. They believe they're being seduced by a police officer. It's annoying that I can't find the actual listing for what was nominated for Something About Mary. Apparently they're that ashamed. It's not. I'm gonna have to go back in the archives. Somebody's gonna have it on YouTube, right? Teen Choice Awards from 1999. So I can work out
Well, I
which
wonder
scene
if
specifically with Matt Dillon.
I wonder if I bet anything it's the dog CPR. I do wonder if they went with that one, if it's because they couldn't. There was no censored way to say the hair scene. I mean, they could have just called it the
I
hair gel
mean,
scene, I
most
guess.
disgusting scene went to Cameron Diaz for
But
There's Something
it's
About
surprising.
Mary. So I'm wondering whether that was it.
It has to be.
That was the most disgusting scene. Right, Josie's got us the usual sort of would this go in the Oscars lineup. So, uh, would we change anything regarding The Matrix winning Best Editing, with the other nominees being American Beauty, Cider House Rules, Sixth Sense, and The Insider?
I would say immediately yes for editing, but the problem is that we just did a 99 movie, right? Because we've gone through these before.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember what movie I already put in here
I'm trying to remember as
that we
well.
did before from 90.
Yeah,
It was really recent, whatever it was.
this is where I need the. Hang on. Popcast Network. I'm literally going onto YouTube on a different tab, just so I can look up Movie Club, the Movie Club playlist. Playlists, please. Or is it going to take forever? Oh, there we go. No, I don't want to play them all. Otherwise, we'll get reverb, and that'll be really confusing. Luckily, I mean, Talented Mr. Ripley was 99. I'm trying to scroll through. Mystery Man. Yeah. The only 99 films we've
Was
done
that
are
it?
Talented Mr. Ripley and Mystery Man.
Because it's really recent we went through these. But yeah, I would take out the Cider House Rules
Yeah.
and put this there probably.
That was the one that was most likely to get rid of in my list, I think I was going to say.
That kind of feels like that. It's been a while since I saw the movie, but that feels like a coattail nomination for Cider
Yeah.
House Rules.
Replace one of the original screenplay nods with Go. So that is American Beauty winning alongside Magnolia, being John Malkovich, The Sixth Sense, and Topsy Turvy. No. Those five are really
It's over.
strong.
Okay, I'll say this. I'd put this over Topsy Turvy because Topsy Turvy definitely is a movie that feels more technical to and stuff like that. But I haven't seen it in a while, so it could be much better written than I'm remembering. But this is a really fucking good script, also. So in the meantime, I would say replace Topsy Turvy with it, but that's in pencil, not in pen.
I'm trying to look now because Josie then also mentions, where does Go rank in films of 1999 for you? If you can't answer, that's okay. I'm just trying to go through like the. I probably shouldn't be going
Nah,
through the list of like the box office top 10 because
99's a really good year. That'd be hard to
hmm
say.
yeah, I mean, just looking at the top 10 highest grossing, you've got Sixth Sense, Toy Story 2, The First Matrix, Tarzan, which I sort of did rate, Notting Hill, American Beauty. Uh, we've already talked about Talented Mr. Ripley, Election, Neil Jordan's The End of the Affair, which is pretty damn good as well. I don't know if it would make it in top 10, but it's certainly one that I would recommend people watch. Spoilers for the end of the video in terms of what our thoughts on the thing.
It's top 10, and it might be close. Like, it would probably be maybe a top 50. I don't know. There's so much strong shit here.
hmm
Because I do know my favorite movie of 99 American Beauty, and then probably The Matrix, and then Fight Club, and then it goes from there. The Sixth Sense might be fourth.
I completely forgot that Talented Mr. Ripley released the same day as Titus and Galaxy Quest and Angela's Ashes. What a list of four that is! Look at
Yeah,
this.
the Sixth Sense or Ripley would probably be four, and then it'd be really hard to say from there.
I'm trying to have a quick look now and see what got released, if anything, the same week as Go. So, April. Scroll up. Oh, that's ironic. Existence, which also featured Sarah Polly, released 2 weeks later on the 23rd of April. Wow. The comedies were very strong then on the 9th. Foolish. And Never Been Kissed were the same week. There were no other films that week, technically. Because Can of Worms was a Disney Channel movie, so I'm not counting it. So yeah, that was a week of just. Part of me wants to now go to Box Office Mojo and see how Go did, because I'd have thought it probably made top 10. Go 1999.
I feel like in general, there's 99 movies that I'm forgetting about.
Yeah,
Man on the Moon.
underperformed at the box office. It
Yeah,
says
being
here.
John Malkovich, we just mentioned.
Under. Does it say anything else other than underperformed? Reception. Opened at number 6 in the UK. That isn't what I'm asking. I'm not asking how it did in the UK. I'm asking about the American box office. That's kind of what matters to an American film, I would have thought.
Yeah, the Limey is 99 too. That's one of my favorite Soderberghs. Yeah,
Okay, there we
99
are.
is an impossible year to.
Oh, it was number 6 in America as well. Okay. So the top 10 that week was Foolish made it in at number 10. Doug's first movie at number 9. Twin Dragons? What's that? Probably Steven Seagal. It just sounds like a Steven Seagal film.
I think was that the one? Was that the Jackie Chan one that was from like much earlier, and then it got a U.S. release
Oh,
like
it
almost
might have
10
been,
years after
yeah.
the fact or something?
Forces of Nature was in its 4th week at number 7. Then Go. Just. Wow. Just narrowly being beaten by the 6th week of Analyze This. The Out of Towners was at number 4. 10 Things I Hate About You at number 3. Never Been Kissed at number 2. And. Oh, The Matrix had been released the week before, so that was comfortably doing well as number 1 that week. and fell off out the top 10 relatively quick, sadly. But Bryce says the movie inspired The Simpsons to do the episode Trilogy of Error. That sort of does make sense. Trying to remember what season that was. How soon was it after 99? Oh, 2001. That was the... I'm trying to remember what the plot was that was. The hell? I'm trying to look at this like... Something about Linguo or something? It's a Fat Tony episode anyway. So yeah, very much Go inspired. So that was only 2 years after. Oh, okay. One of the writers saying it was the best episode he ever wrote. Well, if it's season 12, it might be alright, but... Who knows? I only remember the sort of other stuff. Homer's rushed to the hospital to reattach his severed thumb. Lisa's rushed to school to win the science fair. And Bart's running with an illegal fireworks scheme. So yeah. That's... The episode was originally titled Go, Simpson, Go. Wow. I can't think why you called it that. And Josie also finally mentions that Sarah Polly's book Run Towards the Danger is really good, which tackles themes such as grief, love, family, and radical forgiveness. So, all in all, I definitely am watching this again. Maybe I need to be drunk to actually watch it so I get it even more engrossed in it. But yeah, hidden gem. It's always one that sort of, I remember seeing, a decade back and whatever, and never going back to it because of other things to catch up on and whatever. But it's something I could easily... I'm waiting for it to get on sale on Amazon when it's cheaper to watch it rather than other means like I had to this time. Because it feels like I actually want to buy it, but I'm not paying £8 for it when the DVD's like 50 pence from the second-hand shop.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I've had that DVD, I can't even remember where it came from. But I feel like I've had... It might have been when Circuit City was still open, which was well over a decade ago.
But yeah. So, with that, I have to make a change in my calendar. Because with Owen stepping away to sort his stuff out, Rent basically goes... I don't want to say in the long grass, but it'll come round when Owen's ready to come back. So instead, we jump forward to Chris's pick of The Great Mouse Detective in 2 weeks. So on the 20th of August, that'll all be happening. But myself and AJ will be back tomorrow, usual time of 6 p.m. Eastern. For the Pop the Question Q&As, I'll try and have the questions open about an hour or so before we actually go live. Maybe even an hour and a half if I'm not exhausted from working outside. With that, check out all the other content that's here on the channel. Be it the archives of Owen Sip and Snacks and Voice of Liberty stuff, my gaming content and my snack stashes, a few of which you've already probably seen went up today because I'm trying to catch up. A few more are going to show up probably tomorrow time-ish to then catch me up again to where we are with the 6th and the 7th of August. And then AJ, you've got the verses and the movie reviews. Well, more movie reviews at least at the minute. Are we? I'm trying to think. Are we getting any sort of new stuff soon, or is there anything you want to feel? Do you want to desperately talk about Ninja Turtles or something?
There is going to be a review probably sometime this week. Uh, that's going to be Fast X with a couple things, probably Asteroid City and something else.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, most of what I'm working on is the stuff you're going to see all throughout September and October.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was hoping to finish all this stuff by the end of the summer, so that while you're watching all the stuff I've been putting out for September and October, I'm not working on jack shit. That's the
Yeah.
plan. That I'm just not
It's
working on
just
jack shit
us
for two
having to
months
work
because
out
I've been
whether an
doing two
Oscars
months
is
worth of
even.
videos.
It's us trying to work out if an Oscars is even happening. Um,
Yeah.
and all that. It's all that good stuff. Yeah, because there's nothing really big that screams like must see at the cinema. Even though, that's probably negative to say about Blue Beetle, because it might be alright, but I feel the DCEU's in
I don't.
tatters.
Yeah. I don't think I'm excited for anything again until Dune. Assuming Dune doesn't get pushed.
If it hasn't already, yeah. Yeah. Oh, I guess Killers of the Flower Moon in October.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that's October. I keep thinking it'd be like January or
It's
something.
probably going to be November when it shows up on Apple Plus. But cinema wise, if they actually do get into it, it probably is showing up October. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wide release on Apple Plus on October 20th. So it's getting a 2-week cinema exclusive deal. So when more people
Yeah.
watch
So
it on
because of
televisions than on cinemas, Scorsese's going to be really pissed.
so I just because as soon as I saw it was Apple, it's like, well, I'm not getting that in a theater then, unless I go 300 miles away.
No. So yeah, all that stuff, and these movie clubs, the Q&As, which will be happening, as I say, tomorrow, and the awards coverage in roughly 3 and a bit weeks. It'll be interesting how we pitch that. I'm still trying to work out what's actually coming out and is going to be eligible with everything that gets shoved to next year. Maybe we'll know by then. So, uh, find us all on social media. There's the Popcast Network, Twitter feed itself. Owen tweets out stuff regarding the channel as well when new videos go up. At Sir Owen Disney. I'm on Twitter at Ash is my name UK. I know it's called X. I will still call it Twitter just to spite the man. I mean, hell, he put up a sign up illegally that was held up by sandbags. What does that tell you? He'll probably get thrown off of Twitter now. Sorry, X. Damn it. X. Oh no, it's all linked. No. AJ cannot be found on social media because he knows X as well. He knew. He's Nostradamus. And just like Keith Richards cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Legally, I have to say that. It's in the contract. Why would I sign a contract? So, with that, thank you for watching, everybody. Thank you to Josie. Thank you to Bry. Thank you to Spencer. And hope all goes well with your break away from us. Well, break at least in person. You're still going to be paying attention. And you'll still be watching Pacific Heights. With that, thank you for watching. Until literally tomorrow, boys and girls. That is all we've got to say about that. The almighty yak! This is the yak of Yankoi Shek. I'm going to hypnotize you. And we're off here.